Popcorn junkies! It's only me and Maddie again because
we saw Ghost Stories,
which is a
horror film.
British horror film.
Yeah.
Directed by Andy Nyman and Jeremy Dyson. Also co-written by Andy Nyman and Jeremy Dyson, but also based on a stage play. The film starts with a scene where Andy Nyman, the main guy, is setting out to prove that a psychic is rigged.
Yeah.
We won't say how. So his mission in life is to prove that all of the sort of supernatural stories and predictions and superstitious stuff are fake.
The brain sees what it wants to see.
The brain sees what it wants to see. And so it starts with him going off to see someone he's idolised for a while in a horrible little caravan, doesn't it?
Yeah, he goes to visit someone.
Yeah.
And it changes his views.
So if you were to not give something away, how would you describe what then happens?
He meets 3 different men. He meets the first person, which is played by Paul Whitehouse, and he doesn't believe the story because it's so ridiculous. If you heard it, but you know, Paul Whitehouse's character is very shaken up about it. And then he goes to another boy, Alex Lawther, who's quite a fragile young boy.
Yeah, as you see him in the trailer, don't you? Sort of
he's quite shaky and
sweating red.
Yeah, he was amazing in it. He listens to his story and he goes to visit the place it happened, and he slowly starts to believe what's happening as he goes to the 3. But it was weird because to me they felt a bit like the ghosts in A Christmas Carol. The ghosts of Christmas past, present and future.
That's a good analogy. I mean, it's very clearly chopped up into 3 cases.
Yeah, but then with the last case, a lot of the small details in the other ones kind of pop up again in a different way.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, there are quite a few bits where you're like, oh my god, that happened and that means it's there. And
I got slightly concerned at the very beginning, because I don't even remember at the beginning there was a lot of old film footage.
Yeah, I was a bit worried at first. I was thinking, because I really wanted it to be good, and it was. But at the very beginning of the film, the way they'd kind of put together old footage of when he was younger and new footage, I just don't think it really worked. Like when he was doing his talks to camera about these ghost stories and how they're all fake, I didn't like the way it was done, how he was looking at the camera.
I agree.
Because I felt they could have used it in a way that made it look like he was talking to his own camera. And also when he was walking up to kind of embarrass the man who wasn't really, you know, a supernatural psychic. He's kind of walking up the stairs and he's talking to the camera, but we never saw that there was a cameraman.
That's true.
And it was almost like the writers and the director knew themselves that there was a man filming it, but they never showed us that there was a cameraman.
Do you think that was a mistake, or do you think on a second watch that was they were sowing the seeds right at the beginning of a madness?
I feel like once the film ended, a lot of the stuff that didn't make sense in the film made sense to me.
I was going to say, it's one of those very frustrating but good films that at the end of the film you go, I mean, Maddie was making connections between things and I was going, oh crikey, I can't remember. Oh, so for someone of an addled brain, you want to be paying attention. I didn't find the first scene particularly convincing, and I thought, if I'm honest, I thought the Super 8 footage was atrocious. I thought the acting by the family was just, it was just sort of pantomime. And I think in something like this, you've got to, especially given the strength of the 3 main parts. Alex Lawther, is it? Yeah. Paul Whitehouse, and of course, I don't think we've mentioned Martin Freeman as the final guy. Yeah. So once we've got past that bumpy, slightly shaky start...
I mean, I would really just... I mean, you need to know about the beginning, but I really wouldn't pay much attention to it. Just kind of scrap it from memory when you're watching the film. Yeah, I thought the first case, Paul Whitehouse's experience, I thought it was really good, you know, the set and him walking around and him hearing things and nothing really being shown. But although it was creepy, I felt that when the thing was shown, it was a little bit weak.
I did.
Only because I felt like it was every other horror film.
I did too.
But it ended itself quite quickly and I kind of forgot about that.
I totally agree. I thought it was a little bit weak in its construction of horror. I thought Paul Whitehouse was working very hard.
He did it very well. I think he did it really naturally. Because you know, you get in like classic horror, like horror films, you know, they walk into stupid places and they're like screaming and falling over.
Absolutely.
But I thought he did it really well because he was a watchman.
Yes.
And it was just like, I'm coming in, you know, go away.
And he
did it very well.
And his character was so beautifully observed, because there's wonderful moments where he's talking to his Polish co-builder on the radio, and I'm sure Paul Whitehouse would have brought this to it. He was that side of sort of racist that so many English people are. I thought it was a very honest performance, because, you know, it's an uncomfortable fact that a lot of people are racist, and I thought his authenticity and his part was great. I did feel they were rinsing a lot out of some pretty standard horror devices.
But I did like the whole kind of walking around and not saying too much, but there's a bit where he thinks he sees something and I was like, what the hell is that?
That literally was one of the most chilling moments in that scene.
That was so horrible.
So describe for us how we get into the Alex Lawther scene. Is horrible in a completely different way.
Yeah, it was really weird because I was confused with Alex Lawther's one. I didn't understand what it was.
No.
Although his experience was really like scary, because of his performance. I think if it wasn't him acting it wouldn't have been that scary.
I agree.
But because he truly was scared, he did it really well. But also his home life was really weird.
Oh my! Well, that's what I was kind of inferring, was that I don't think we're giving anything away, but there is a particular shot of his parents.
Yeah.
Are
they parents?
What the hell was going on there?
Really weird, because it was really subtle. They weren't doing anything, and that's what was scary.
What I liked about his house was it was very David Lynch. That's the kind of horror that gets under my skin. Set in a suburban house, set in suburbia, the everydayness of what we all kind of know as kind of safe and normal, and yet it's just kind of weird. And then you saw something furtive. You know, is someone else in the house? What's in the house?
Yeah, I know, that thing at the top.
You were laughing out loud at certain points.
Oh yeah, he had some really funny lines in his bit. But so did Paul Whitehouse, to be honest. He acted it so well that I just forgot.
I think we have a bit of a love fest going on.
Oh no, really,
I can see why. Yeah.
It's just a little bit like, kind of, I don't know, it's twitchy and weird. But he was really, oh my god, he was amazing.
He worked absolutely brilliantly in close-up. I mean, he's one of those actors who gets better and better the closer up you get.
Yeah.
Where some get worse, he just gets better and better.
Yeah.
They have a scene with him in a car, and I think it would be safe to say that the horror in his story verges on a satanic sort of horror. You know? It's demonic and it's just weird.
Because they all kind of experience different supernatural things.
By the time we got to the final story, Martin Freeman's, I thought, okay, I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say I felt like I had a hole being drilled into my chest.
Yeah, I honestly still, talking about it, I can't fully breathe in.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a CAT scan on my heart. Martin Freeman's. How would you describe Martin Freeman's?
I think his was very much so ghost related, wasn't it? It was ghostly.
But describe the thing that was following them everywhere.
Oh, I know, parka.
A man in a parka, or thing in a parka.
It was like a man, but he had his hood fully over, so you could see nothing. Oh my god.
That's where I started to get really confused. I thought Martin Freeman's story was where they were trying to tie a lot of kind of narrative threads together, and I think they succeeded in some places. And I'm not saying they didn't succeed in others, but I realise I need to re-watch it in order to join the dots. I got, if I'm honest, I got quite confused in the third story. There's a wonderful scene of horror which really comes out of IVF, which is when couples try and have babies. Don't know if you remember. And that scene where he's waiting for her to come back from the hospital, I thought that was really cleverly done.
Yeah, and I thought there was like a tiny smidge in between his story and the next thing that happens that was a bit confusing. A bit with the caravan and...
Oh yes, yes.
I just thought it was a little bit too much.
Yes.
But it made sense once it got past that.
There's one particularly horrific scene that reminded me of when we went to visit the London experience. Going down the corridor. Just describe how you felt when you saw that scene.
I just didn't know what to do. I honestly didn't know if I should look away or look at it. It was horrible.
There was an element to the thing, the person that was involved in that scene of such insane gibbering madness and laughter that I have never,
he played that so
seen
well.
Anything like that.
Well, he was like, he played it really well, because that's what you'd be like. What would you do?
So, but it was one of those films that seemed to get stronger and stronger. It kept building more and more momentum, whereas often these films run out of steam.
Yeah, they do. Though it got stronger, I felt there were certain parts of it that were quite weak.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was a perfect film.
Sure.
But I thought that a lot of their horror ideas were really, really clever.
Yeah, and a British film.
Yeah.
It almost reminded me of something that you probably won't remember, but we used to watch a couple of Hammer House of Horror films when we were much younger. It had a sort of slightly kitsch, camp, simplicity to it. Do you know what I mean? Certainly in the bits between the stories, I quite liked, you know, the close-ups of the gnomes and the three monkeys on the steps. If you're a fan of The League of Gentlemen, it has that slightly weird, twisted take on everyday Englishness.
Yeah.
Without giving it away, were you convinced by the pull together at the end?
I was, actually. And I really liked the ending.
The very ending?
The very ending.
Oh my god.
Well, it made me jump out my skin.
Yeah.
But I thought it was clever.
It was.
Because the whole way through we see this certain shot and you never know what it means. And then it's the very last shot and you're just like, oh.
An incredibly shocking moment that I didn't see coming with Martin Freeman on the hillside.
Yeah.
Utterly shocking. Okay, well, yeah, I would agree. My summary would be try and sort of be patient with the first 10 minutes. It's a bit clunky, but once they find their feet, it kind of really goes up. What would Mum make of it? Are you going to make her watch it at Halloween?
Yeah.
I think we have to.
Well, if I can. Just don't tell us ghost stories.
So, scores on the doors. What would do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I would, on this one, only principally because of the beginning. And maybe because I didn't think that the horror was quite well enough built in the Paul Whitehouse scene. I'm going to give this one a 7.75.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm actually going to go for 9.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, good for you.
And the reason it's not 10 would be because of the beginning.
Yeah.
And a little bit of Paul Whitehouse's experience, though there were some really strong bits in there.
It's definitely worth watching. Definitely worth supporting British cinema.
Yeah, but if you've got properly scared of things, I don't recommend.
If you have a heart condition, seriously, if you, I mean, I think
no, seriously, if you have a heart condition, I would recommend you don't go because I honestly felt like I was gonna die.